Many thanks for choosing us. Let's begin with the senior housemaster of the Kumasi Secondary Technical School, Samuel Peterson Asamoah, who is to be held before the disciplinary committee of the school for allegedly inducing abortion for a Form 2 student he impregnated. The 16-year-old student is currently on admission at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital following the complications. Love News' Erastus Asaridonko joins me live for details on the story. Erastus, good evening to you. Give us details of this affair and subsequent abortions. What more we know about this? We need to know about this.
Know now is that there was an alleged affair between the student, who is a second-year student, 16-year-old, and the senior housemaster, that is Samuel Peterson, and it's been going on for some time. The girl got pregnant, and the senior housemaster is alleged to have given her a concoction to drink, inducing abortion. And so the fetus, according to doctors, died inside her for some days. And according to her colleagues, she started smelling. And that is where they noticed that something was wrong. And so when it got serious, they rushed her to the first care hospital at Odenoho Kwadaso, where she was referred to the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, where she had been operated on. And as we speak, the doctors are saying she has been discharged.
Okay, so when is this headmaster supposed to be held before the disciplinary committee?
Well, when the original director of education, Mary Chan, was informed this afternoon, she said, no way. The committee can do its work, but this is a criminal case, so they should report immediately to the police formally, have him arrested and interdicted, and she should stay out of the school. And so as we speak, we are at the Suntreso Police Department, where the regional director herself and the Metro Director of Education themselves are here together with the headmaster of the school, and they are filing a formal complaint as we speak. And we do understand the police will be effecting his arrest any moment.
Well, tell us about how the victim is faring. We understand she's been discharged, but what's her condition now?
Well, from the doctor's point of view at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, she is responding to treatment. And like I said, she's been discharged. She can go home, but she will be under monitoring to see that there are no further complications.
All right. So as you're following the issue at the police station, what is the latest from the police?
Well, currently, as we speak, the DOFSU, I can see the regional director of education, the Metro Director of Education, and the headmaster, together with the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit personnel, standing on the balcony there having a chat. Initially, they went in there to file a formal complaint. So I'm yet to know whether an arrest will be effected this night or tomorrow morning.
Well, Erastus, we also know that you have a copy of the memo that was issued by the school summoning the head housemaster to appear before the disciplinary committee. Tell us what this memo is saying.
Well, so the school itself is arranging a disciplinary hearing for the matter to be investigated. But I have the regional director of education herself here. Let me pick just a word from her before we go. Madam, this night you are here yourself at the Sofoline police station. Why are you here this evening?
I wanted to make sure the senior housemaster is
under arrest?
Yes.
So what has happened so far? Have you been able to file a formal complaint?
We have done that. And we are sending the headmaster and assistant headmasters back to the school to bring him here. He's not here. So we are asking them to go back with a policeman to bring him here.
How serious is this to you, this particular case, in the wake of other cases that have come up?
I haven't seen the girl, but you're talking about the case. This is very serious. You see, the fact that he has defiled the girl is one thing. Impregnating the girl, trying to abort it. Look at this. very serious. To me, it's very serious. Yes, it has a criminal implication, and the law must take its course.
Aside the law taking its course, any procedures you're going to follow through?
You mean administratively?
Exactly.
Yes, it will be done. On Monday, he will be interdicted. And then he will be brought before the disciplinary committee, and the sanctions will be applied.
So, Aisha, you had Mrs. Achanda. She's the regional director of education, and she's here with the metro director of education, in fact, to make sure that this is done. Madam, are you here on the same mission?
Yes, please.
How do you feel about this?
It's just too bad for a teacher who should take care of a student. If he should give this to the student, then it is very bad. So I feel so bad, but we are here. The law will take its course. The criminal aspect will take its course. And we have our code and those things, and that also will run, like the regional director has said.
Well, so the two managers of education within the region are here, and they are to ensure that the right thing is done.
Well, many thanks to you, Erastus Asari Donko, with an update on the student who was impregnated by a housemaster. Now, soil scientist at the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, Dr. Alfred Arthur, has told an Accra High Court lithovit foliar fertilizer of extremely low nutrient content was discovered on the open market in December 2017. The scientist is the state's second witness in the case in which former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni has been charged with causing financial loss to the state in the award of the fertilizer supply contract to businessman Seidu Agongo. Another court has meanwhile ordered the Economic and Organized Crime Office to release the passport of former head of Management Information Systems at SNIT, Caleb Kweku Afaglo. He's standing trial together with 4 others over a $72 million operating business suit OBS contract handed IT company Perfect Business Systems. There is more in the following report.
The Economic and Organized Crime Office on April 18, 2017 seized the passport of former head of Management Information Systems at SNIT, Caleb Kweku Afaglo. He was one of 4 individuals the investigative body was assessing in relation to a $72 million operating business suit contract handed IT company Perfect Business Systems. The others include former Director General of SNIT Ernest Thompson, John Hagan Mensah, Juliet Hassanakram. They were subsequently arraigned on 29 charges, with each pleading not guilty and getting the courts to grant them bail. Mr. Afaglo is, however, yet to receive his passport, forcing his lawyers to put in an application. Justice Kofi on Friday observed that Mr. Afaglo's bail was without conditions, and since Yoko had already completed its investigations, releasing the passport was the appropriate thing. Justice Clemens Honyenuga on Friday continued hearing the case involving former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni. A soil scientist at the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, Dr. Alfred Arthur, continued his testimony to the court. He said in December 2017, Craig observed lithovit foliar fertilizer of extremely low nutrient content was on the market. Dr. Arthur explains this is in sharp contrast to the high-level nutrient content sample tested and approved for use by Craig in 2013. The scientist is the state's second witness in the case in which former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Opuni has been charged with causing financial loss to the state in the award of the fertilizer supply contract to businessman Seidu Agongo. It will be recalled that state prosecutors have questioned the efficacy of the agricultural lithovit fertilizer supplied to Cocoa Board. Led to give evidence by Director of Public Prosecution Yvonne Atakra-Obuobisa, Dr. Arthur said the sample in powdery form tested in 2013 had nutrient composition of 75.3% calcium carbonate, 9.8% magnesium carbonate. However, in 2017, when the product was collected on the market for re-evaluation, it had a nutrient composition of 0.06% for calcium carbonate and 0.86% magnesium carbonate. He added that the sample was also liquid in form instead of the powdery substance that had been approved. The scientists said they therefore recommended to Craig not to renew the fertilizer certificate. The case has been adjourned to November 12.
You're still on JoyNews Prime. Still to come in this bulletin, President Akufo-Addo is lobbying the visiting Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, to use his influence to scale up trade between Ghana and the United Kingdom.
Unfortunately, trade relations have declined a little. I think that your coming here should be a signal of how we want to scale up those relations. It's important for us.
The request comes as the royal couple begin 4-day official tour of Ghana. We have more on this in this bulletin. Welcome back to the Joy News Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. And government says the first tranche of $2 billion under the Ghana Sino Hydro Project facility will hit government's account by the end of the year. Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoakwata, says infrastructure projects to be funded with the money will begin in 2019. Now, briefing the media in Parliament House, he said a substantial part of that money will be invested in road projects.
The first tranche of it, which is a quarter of it, $500 million, is hitting our account before the end of the year, and we are going to use it to finance a number of. Let me talk about roads. There will be other things, but for the road sector, we are going to build interchanges, we are going to build roads, we are going to build bridges, across the nation. For the first time, from first quarter next year, we are going to construct an interchange next year, in Tamale. Takrady is also going to see its first interchange, under this Sino Hydro facility at the PTC roundabout. And in all regions, every region has got its major bridges, major roads scattered, across the nation, going to be undertaken. So all those, who are going around saying, accusing President Akufo-Addo's government, or we haven't seen the roads, and in the first place, they should know the kind of roads they handed over. Why is it that Ghanaians everywhere, every nook and corner, Ghanaians are crying for roads? It shows the nature of road infrastructure that was handed over to His Excellency the President.
Mr. Amoakwata is meanwhile warning persons responsible for the theft of bolts and nuts on the Adome Bridge. They will be prosecuted if arrested. It has emerged suspected criminals have been stealing the bolts and selling as scrap, thereby weakening the bridge. The minister tells Joy News the Ghana Highway Authority has checked and the bridge is safe for use. But he says security will be increased along the bridge to stop such theft.
More than 3 weeks ago, and the engineers from Ghana Highway Authority, the road maintenance engineers quickly ran to the place. It's a very important bridge in our country, and for that matter, every bridge is important. And they went there to have a look at it and have taken all necessary measures, steps to make sure that it does not pose any problem to the traveling and the motoring public. So there's no cause for alarm. I don't know what is wrong with us as a people. You provide crash barriers and people cut them, steal them. You provide New Jersey barriers, people damage them. You provide road safety fences. You see people jumping over them, destroying them. I don't know what is wrong with that. The only thing is to improve security at these areas. I mean, obviously, it's criminal. I mean, it's a criminal act. If those people are caught and arrested, of course, they will be put before the law court, for prosecution.
President Akufo-Addo says his government is on course to fix the mess created by the previous NDC government. According to him, work done so far is pointing the economy in the right direction. Swearing in 6 ministers of state at the Jubilee House, Nana Akufo-Addo said he will give a good account of his stewardship when his mandate ends in 2020. The ministers, Kojo Nkrumah for Information, Evans Opoku for the Bono Ahafo region, Cynthia Morrison for the Gender, Children and Social Protection, Paulina Abayage for the Upper East region, and 2 other deputy ministers were sworn in after going through parliamentary vetting and approval. President Akufo-Addo wants them to shun competition and cooperate for the greater good of government.
And those who are already there and cooperate with them so that we can deliver. And then amongst yourselves, also, cooperation. The 2 years that I've been here, I've discovered that that is the most important aspect for successful governance, that there should be cooperation. You're not in competition with each other, you're not in competition with anybody. You're all to work together so that the things that we told the Ghanaian people that got them to give us their confidence and trust that we can deliver them. We've delivered some. There's still others to go. But if we all continue to work hard and keep our eyes on the ball, I'm very confident that when the 4 years are over, we'll be able to give a good account of ourselves to the people of Ghana. You're now very exposed in the public domain. All kinds of things are going to be said and attributed to you. Keep focus. Don't get yourself distracted. There are a lot of people out there who would like you to get distracted. We inherited a big mess, but systematically we're trying to clean it up. And by and large, we're succeeding. Already the economic indicators that we inherited have all been turned around, and they're now pointing in the right direction.
On behalf of his colleagues, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah pledged to work with his colleagues to help the government realize its dream of transforming the country.
To express our appreciation to you for the honor and the challenge. About 22 months ago, you formed and you have been leading a government that has been tackling the big mess that you talk about, and while doing that, also fulfilling the very bold promises that you led us to make to the people of Ghana. You assigned many of us lower level roles at the time, and we recall promising you on that day that we would work with diligence and decorum to assist in delivering on your mandate. Today you assign us some other roles. And as you mentioned, the vision that animates you is also what inspires us. We will continue to work with that same diligence and decorum. And Mr. President, just like you don't rest, we will also not rest. We look forward to assisting you and the entire government deliver on our mandate so that when the time comes for us to give an account to the people of Ghana, we can boldly and gladly tell the people that we promised and we have delivered.
Welcome back to JoyNews Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. And the man in the best position to succeed Queen Elizabeth II, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, has started his official visit to Ghana. Thus will be his first visit to the Commonwealth since the Commonwealth heads of government unanimously decided he should succeed Her Majesty the Queen as the future head of the organization. The Prince also visited the Osu Military Cemetery to lay wreath in recognition of the efforts of some Ghanaian soldiers who fought in the First and Second World Wars. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
We're on the tarmac right now, and the plane just landed We have all dignitaries carefully positioned here waiting to receive Prince Charles. If you come here to the Kotoka International Airport, all you see is the Union Jack and then the Ghana flag as well, carefully hoisted here. Walking towards the plane right now is a Speaker of Parliament, Professor Mike Okwe, walking carefully to go and welcome His Royal Highness Prince Charles. The last time that His Royal Highness was in Ghana was in the year 1977, and in that video put out by the British monarchy, he spoke fondly about how he wants to, listen to High Life and then hear more of Afrobeats. He also spoke fondly about the last time that he visited about 40 years ago at the Christianborg Osu Military Cemetery. Here, what is going to happen here is that there's going to be a wreath-laying ceremony or to pay respect to the people who died in the First and then Second World War. Private Hammond actually took part in the Second World War.
Yeah.
Tell me, what was it like, taking part in the Second World War?
It was wonderful, and it was wonderful, and also fearful.
Tell me, how important are these ceremonies? How important are these ceremonies? Somebody would just see it, somebody else would just see it as a mere wreath-laying ceremony.
It is not. It is marvelous. We admire it a great deal. It cements the British Empire. We like it because all French are the best. They have done a lot for us, and still they are making effort.
Ladies and gentlemen, shall we acknowledge the arrival of their Royal Highnesses, the Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall.
Ongoing now, President Akufo-Addo, I'm sure, saying goodbye to His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, and then the Duchess of Cornwall. UK Defence Advisor, Simon Westlake. So how significant is this visit?
Indeed, and I think it's worth reflecting on two aspects of this. I mean, one, I think their Royal Highness's visit to Ghana is hugely important, hugely symbolic, and I spoke the other day in saying that I felt it was a visit that reflected on the past but didn't dwell in the past, and actually is reflective of a foundation that we're both setting as countries in looking at the future. And this ceremony is a mark of the respect for our shared history.
Let's see if we can get an interview with Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK. Papa Osonkuba, you're welcome to JoyNews.
Tells us that Ghana's relationship with the United Kingdom has gone up another notch. The visit of His Royal Highness should not be seen in isolation. You see, the Earl of Wessex is also here for the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. The two of them coincide, and that is the first they've held outside the UK. This is the first in Africa. So it tells you the level to which the UK recognizes its relationship with Ghana. It's the people-to-people relationship that we now need to build, all right? For those British citizens of Ghanaian descent to identify more with Ghana, and that is what we are trying to do now.
Now, President Akufo-Addo is lobbying the visiting Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, to use his influence to scale up trade between Ghana and the United Kingdom. The volume of trade between the two countries has dropped by more than 30% since 2012. As at 2014, Ghana was the UK's fifth largest trade partner in sub-Saharan Africa, with trade reaching £1.3 billion at the end of 2015. Prince Charles, who is in the country on a 4-day visit, is expected to engage business entities in the cocoa sector to encourage best practices in cocoa farms. Welcoming Prince Charles to the Jubilee House, President Akufo-Addo indicated the country is watching how Britain's exit from the European Union will impact on Ghana's economy.
You know, the relations between our two countries go back centuries. Some of it was happy, Some of it was not so happy, but we're in the happier period now. And the imprint of your country on us is visible, even from the soldiers that you've just inspected. Yeah. So many aspects of our life are very, very influenced by British values, British institutional arrangements. And lots of our people who are living in your place, doing well, well treated on the vast part of them. And it's a relationship that we value. Unfortunately, trade relations have declined a little. I think that your coming here should be a signal of how we want to scale up those relations. It's important for us. And our concern, of course, is your concern. What is going to happen after the Brexit arrangement goes through? To what extent is it going to impact on us? We're determined to be a firm and strong friend of your country. And we see your coming here as an indication that you also attach a great deal of importance to your relations with Ghana. So we're very happy to have you here. And we hope that these 4 or 5 days that you're going to have here are going to be a memorable time in your life for both you. The Duchess has not been here with us before, so we're going to put our best foot forward to make sure that you enjoy your stay in Ghana.
So Prince Charles, tipped to succeed Queen Elizabeth as King of the United Kingdom, last visited Ghana 40 years ago. But this is the first official visit since he was made head of state of the Commonwealth nation, a position passed on to him by his mother, Queen Elizabeth. In a brief remark, he congratulated President Akufo-Addo on what he describes as his inspirational speeches to the world.
He suddenly started to read my old speeches from 40 years ago. Okay. So he couldn't believe it. So he made a speech in Australia to the National Geographic, quoting from my speeches, not saying who it was, but said it until the end.
And that was my father. Oh, yes.
I didn't think he paid any attention to it.
Parliament has thrown out a recommendation from the Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee seeking to exempt information from the House as subject to the Right to Information Bill. The committee had proposed exemption to avoid privileged information from Parliament getting into the hands of the public. The House has been considering various amendments to the bill. Now, Chairman of the committee, Ben Abdallah, tells JoyNews they are committed to getting it passed soon.
The pressure notwithstanding, Parliament is still working on the bill. We haven't relented in our effort to ensure that the bill becomes a law or see the light of day. So it is being continued. And I'm hoping that at the end of the day, we will come out with a very strong law.
Would it be done before the end of this particular session?
That is the plan. The plan is that this bill be finished before the end of the session. But anything at all can happen. Yes, we are on course. We are on course.
Why do you want to exempt Parliament in terms of the, institutions that we can readily access information from?
That was the proposition, or that was the proposed amendment. But you will agree with me that that proposed amendment did not go through. So it was more or less abandoned.
Oh, so it's been shut down?
Yes, it's been abandoned.
And what was the reasoning behind the turnaround to then shoot it down?
No, the turnaround was that some of the members of Parliament felt that that rendition was too vague and too at large. To say that any information that would contravene the standing orders of Parliament will be exempt is to say that all information relating to Parliament should be exempt. That was the understanding of some members of Parliament.
But what was the intention behind it?
But the intention was to exempt information relating to parliamentary privilege. For instance, if the Speaker, and you see information relating to parliamentary privilege is well captured under the standing orders. So at the end of the day, I became convinced that even if we should abandon the proposed amendment, relating to non-disclosure of information concerning the standing orders of Parliament. Within the standing orders themselves, there are enough rules that point to information that is to be excluded.
A fellow at the Center for Constitutional Order, CENCOD, has charged parents who genuinely cannot take care of their children to approach district assemblies for help. Kwewa Kwelabi says providing such support is part of the assembly's mandate. She was speaking at a forum on streetism in Accra. Here's a report by Philip Ankra.
Speaking at a forum, a fellow at the Center for Constitutional Order, CENCOD, Kwewa Kwelabi said a Ministry of Gender and Social Protection study conducted in 2017 capped the number of street children in Ghana at a daunting 300,000. This, she says, is a 1,000% increase over the previous surveys. The forum was intended to help assess the role of police service, magistrate courts, social welfare, and district assemblies in ending the menace.
Responsibility lies on the government to ensure that every child of school-going age is in the classroom. Where a parent cannot genuinely, the word here is genuinely, afford to educate the child, the district assembly may provide the support necessary for the education of the child. In other words, if a parent cannot afford to take their children to school, it is the duty of the district assembly to make sure that the children are in school.
A social welfare specialist, Richard Ajete, called on policymakers to involve people on the streets when drafting policies that will affect them.
Yes, institutional collaboration is very critical, but we must look at the issue and we must involve those persons on the streets whenever we are designing any projects or any research. Especially, I realize that most of the research carried out in Ghana or elsewhere on streetism is focusing directly towards only quantitative research. But we must involve the interview qualitative aspects of it to know the in-depth issues that relate to these children on the streets.
Secretary General of the Ghana Office of UNESCO, Amasewa Nikwe Tete, charged policy advocates to move beyond research and engage people on social media in conversations on social issues to draw attention to them.
I'm charging you, CENCOD, to go beyond just the research and put together a number of policy dialogues, put together these agencies, and let them start to talk. Somebody has to do it, and since you've started on this path, maybe the next time it is not just to put your findings out there, but put everybody around the table and let us begin to speak.
JoyNews' Philip Ankres reports.
Now, barring any last-minute hitch, construction work on the new Upper West Regional Hospital will be completed on November 15. Contractors of the project say they are putting finishing touches to the project before testing and subsequent handing over. Operation of the hospital, however, will start in the first quarter of 2019. Engineer Ahmed Abu Shama disclosed when members of the Ghana Health Service Council toured the facility. JoyNews Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
Construction of the new Upper West Regional Hospital started some 5 years ago. It was expected to be completed in February 2017, but delayed owing to some constructional and administrative challenges. Former President John Dramani Mahama, on whose administration construction of the turnkey project was started, at a recent campaign tour of the Upper West region, chastised the MPP administration for the delay in commissioning the project. The 160-bed hospital, which is located along the Wakelo Road, has 7 operation rooms for various surgeries. The facility will be able to accommodate 6 simultaneous deliveries with backup power plants, a laundry that will serve both staff and patients, a hospital kitchen, and a maintenance unit, making it a complete whole. The ultra-modern hospital also comes in with mini market, physiotherapy unit, 2 buildings for administration, pharmacy, and parking lot for 114 vehicles and other several sophisticated equipment. The new state-of-the-art facility, when completed, is expected to serve the over 800,000 residents of the Upper West region and some residents in neighboring Burkina Faso. members of the Ghana Health Service Council, as part of their 2-day official tour of the Upper West region, took a tour around the giant edifice. They were led by the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Siasari, and conducted around the facility by resident engineer of Eurojet The Invest, contractors for the project, Ahmed Abu Shama. Engineer Shama disclosed that they are at the final stage of completing the project and will be done by the middle of November.
Hospital uses equipment here, so not now to talk about percentage 90 or 95. Now we are in phase to closing the project and start testing and commissioning by next month, 15th of November. Start testing and commissioning and to take our procedures to start handing over to the government.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Siasari, was happy and impressed with the progress of work and has already started talking about the services that will be rendered by the hospital.
We have put in, and this will go a long way to increase the number of beds we have in the country, and then the beds to population will also be high, and more importantly, we can then decentralize our training, and then our skills, especially the specialist care, to everywhere in this country. Because when we finish this, bring house officers, we can bring nurses who are trained. We can also bring specialist training here. That one will increase the number of doctors in this region, and then it can also spill off into the other surrounding regions.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
And back here in the studio in Accra from our studios, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Now, Ghanaian singer and physician Nii Lante has bemoaned lack of commitment of successive governments in providing adequate ambulances to help improve healthcare delivery in the country. Many Ghanaians, including pregnant women in rural areas, have lost their lives or their babies due to unavailability of ambulances to transport them to hospital for treatment. According to Nii Lante, government must give priority to the health sector and reduce purchasing luxurious goods. The musician also called on his colleagues in the industry to awake the conscience of government to the plight of citizens in the country. He was speaking earlier on News Desk on his new single that talks about 52 ambulances and on 1,000 V8s.
52 ambulances, pressure for the people, yeah, 1,000 V8s for ministers, directors, the parliament enter. 52 ambulances for my people, 1,000 V8s for ministers, directors.
Almost every government that we've had since independence tells us that Ghana is so rich that we don't need to beg. So if we are so rich, why don't we use the money or whatever we get from the resources we have, and the money itself, the cash itself, to do these simple things? These are the essentials. These things are called essential services. I'm saying it is simple because, I mean, all these people all these are fathers, uncles, etc., who all become presidents and vice presidents and finance ministers and everything, they tell us that we have enough money. So then what is the problem? And you can't tell me too that we don't have money, because I see money being spent in buying luxury stuff. So it means there is the money. I think we just have to be real. Look, I'm hearing stories about what the Rwandan president is doing and putting discipline into it. So I think that it is just a will, a strong will to do the right thing. You know, President Kufuor, he was from the NPP. The NPP is out there, it is seen to be like on the capitalist side of the political divide. But surprisingly, he's the one who thought it fit to start the National Ambulance Service. And I think I give him a big thumbs up for that, you know. But since he did that, what else has happened? All the other people who come after that, what else has happened? Even now, what is happening? Can't close our eyes forever. to the things that are happening around us. Like I said, musicians, we are supposed to be commentators. We are supposed to be the mouthpiece of the people. We are supposed to protest. I think that we have to take it upon ourselves to sometimes sing some positive things small, you know, some conscious lyrics. Let's raise the consciousness of the people, or let us bring the conscious, whatever is being expressed onto the street, let us be the medium to transfer that to the people in authority, so that if they are not hearing, they will hear. And then they will probably act on behalf of the people in what they are hearing. And I think musicians are very powerful.
Let's get back to the British High Commissioner's residence, where JoyNews' editor Araba Kumsing is at a reception in honor of the visiting royal. She's been speaking to some guests at the event.
The Ghana Standards Authority.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Araba.
So the prince has been here barely how many hours? 7 or 8 hours, and yet there's a flurry of activities. What do you make of his visit, first of all, to the country? I know he's been to Gambia already. He's scheduled to go to Nigeria from here. What are your thoughts about
I think as a Ghanaian, especially considering our cultural heritage, considering the ties between Ghana and the UK, and importantly, considering the agenda for Ghana Beyond Aid, the UK is one of our biggest trading partners. We stand with them. We have been gaining. So Charles and Prince Charles coming here is actually good news. It's exciting. It's almost ecstatic because both the UK and Ghana are at the crossroads. It's leaving the EU as part of Brexit. Ghana is trying to win itself off aid. In terms of trade, if we focus on that, considering that we have officially 250,000, unofficially 500,000 or more Ghanaians in the UK, there's so much we gain both ways. And we all stand to gain. So we need each other at this time. And it's good that Prince Charles has come here. Though I don't think it's accidental. I think it's strategic on the part of the UK.
Why do you say it's strategic?
I think the UK will need trading partners. Once you leave the European Union, you've got to trade to survive as a country. You've got to choose the biggest places. Gambia is small, Ghana is bigger, Nigeria is biggest. So I think we shouldn't make any apologies that this is not just about friendship. It's about business, it's about trade. What is important for Ghana is to ensure that we get a fair deal and that we get a best deal that we can push for. We should not be naive or innocent. The UK loves us, we love them, but at the end of the day, it's about jobs, money, the economy, and each side getting enough for their people. We have benefited, but they do benefit as well, and we don't have to go in naively. It's in the past, we do trade negotiations as if it's a church. It's
Talk about benefits. How do you think Ghana can capitalize on this visit to its advantage?
I am privy to information about the demand for Ghanaian products in the UK. I'm also privy to the fact that we have not been able to meet the demand, and that is a challenge. So Prince Charles coming is just endorsing the Ghana brand or the Made in Ghana brand. I think the challenge to any businessman or woman out there is how do we meet that challenge? Because trust me, if we are only supplying plantain chips and yam to
So that was JoyNews editor Araba Kumsing with some interview from the British High Commissioner's residence, where a reception is being held for the Prince of Wales, who is in the country for a 4-day visit. Now, interpreting a sermon could be a challenging task, and there aren't many who can do it perfectly. This is very essential because most preachers use English, but for the purposes of those who cannot understand the language, there is a need for a translator. Now, JoyNews' Jacqueline Sylvia Nate has been interacting with some translators to find out if what they do can be described as a calling by the Holy Spirit or a mere trade.
It's a Sunday at the Gospel Ambassadors Church. Members of the congregation have come to worship. It's time for the Word of God, and the preacher is giving a sermon on adversities.
The first thing I want to do is to try and explain what adversity is. For
the 30 minutes he'll be speaking, a translator is required. Pastor Dan is one of the many translators at the Gospel Ambassadors Church. He's been actively involved in sermon translations for more than a decade.
Yeah. So there are a lot of key translations that when the English words that when it's said, it becomes very
Sometimes things go wrong, especially when the preacher uses a word wrongly in a sentence to communicate a different meaning, or perhaps when the preacher uses a word the translator does not understand.
When you lose a loved one,
Pastor Dan thinks his ability to translate is divine, a skill that cannot be taught or learned, something that comes from the Holy Spirit.
It is not a performance. This is purely spiritual thing. And so, obviously, if you don't have that confidence, you begin to fumble.
The story is no different at the Kingdom Grace Chapel in Osu. It's their 12th anniversary, and the church members simply cannot hide their joy. Deaconess Nana Kunedwe Fifa is the translator here. She's been doing this for 9 years. Her job is even more complex. Deaconess Fifa is faced with the task of translating from English to Twi and from Twi to Ga, depending on which language the preacher chooses at a particular time. This requires skill, attention, and ability to understand words and explain the exact meanings to fit the truest intents of the preacher. And that can be very difficult at times. Sometimes, the most skillful translators even get confused.
Of the people, they tell themselves like Jezebel, want to destroy the kingdom of God.
I could remember I met a South African man at our head office. He was speaking English, but the English was too deep. I don't even get him. So at times I jump. He will speak plenty, but I'll just cut it into short because I don't even hear what he was saying.
Indeed, without translators like Deaconess Fifa, church services will be meaningless for many worshippers. Really, what is a good sermon when it is preached in a language you cannot understand? Such translators are the only reason some people remain in the church.
About 4 years ago, we had some old lady. She said, "Oh, Sister Kunedu, if you don't come to church, I don't think I can come to church." I said, "Madam, why?" She said, "I don't understand the Twi and the English. But when you bring out like the Ga, I'm okay with the Ga. So if you are no more there, I don't think I can continue worshiping with you."
How about those who are benefiting from the sermon? I spoke with some members of both churches.
It distorts the message because for me as an individual who can speak English and understand the Twi, sometimes what the pastor says is not the same thing the interpreter says.
Some of the pastors, as soon as the reading comes out, they just follow the English, does not translate, but when it's translated, it helps some of them maybe to understand like in our own language.
If churches can run 2 services, then they go ahead and run 2 services instead of having 1 service and having others interpret or somebody interpret it to Twi or any other language.
Who qualifies to be a church translator? Does it require any training at all? Well, Reverend Kennedy Bentum, senior pastor of Gospel Ambassadors Church, tells me more.
First, identify somebody who flows in Twi. It's not about the fact that you're able to speak good English, but you try to nurture the person, let him understand that it's a call and it's a responsibility for him to grow in it.
For the thousands who congregate in churches each day and night to listen to sermons preached in different languages, often the other voice from the pulpit that echoes in their mother tongue makes the worship experience even richer and meaningful. Jacqueline Sylvia Nati's report for JoyNews.
All right, and back in the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim, and if you think you're qualified for this job, I want you to translate for me. Life is full of ups and downs. Let's meet on JoyNews Interactive with your translations. Now, this week, the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Kwame Owusu, has been trending for the wrong reasons. We bring you an editorial from Araba Kumson.
As citizens, our expectation is that those who make the decisions in respect of how our money is spent will do so taking into account our collective interest. But is that what we get? This week, the Managing Director of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Kwame Owusu, has been in the news but not for the right reasons. Watch this.
The issue of the authority having $135,000 cedis for end of year party. It is true. We have 200 workers. We had met and estimated that there will be at least a partner, a child, a girlfriend, or a wife. That will make it 400. We also took into consideration the invitation of various stakeholders.
Now listen to the justification.
And by the way, the authority was so excited because since its inception, this is the only year that they've had end of year party. So you can imagine.
Again, Mr. Owusu spent 1 million Ghana cedis to expand a 2-bedroom house into a 4-bedroom one.
1 million Ghana cedis that has been used to renovate a 2-bedroom house for the Director General. Construction period pictures, show them. That's a lot of them. Construction period pictures, the auditors were there day and night taking pictures of construction and then came out the building. And let me tell you, that building is now made out of 4 bedrooms of the main structure, the main house. A living room, a dining room, kitchen, a family room, a library, and a basement.
So my colleague Evan Spencer called him up to clarify this matter. His reaction will shock you.
So let's address
the music. He probably went to sell it, but he didn't buy it.
Mr. Owusu, you own...
Thank you very much.
Mr. Owusu, I asked a question. You don't want to answer. My question to you, you are in conflict of interest situation because you own a hotel in which you spend monies in from the taxpayers' funds. Well, he's dropped the line there. He doesn't want to address the fundamental questions, and there are lots of fundamental questions.
Mr. Owusu's justification of the 135,000 cedis spent on the company's end-of-year party is infuriating. 135,000 Ghana cedis. That money can averagely provide 13 boreholes for deprived communities if you consider that the construction of one borehole costs between 8,000 to 11,000 cedis. Remember that over 10,000 cedis was also spent on a buffet for 17 people. That means 588 cedis was spent on each person, and we're not talking royal cuisine here. I can tell you that here in the Joy newsroom, when we have a buffet to celebrate colleagues, the cost does not exceed 4,000 cedis. At least 60 people take part in the buffet. Also remember that the Ghana Maritime Authority boss spent 1 million Ghana cedis changing a 2-bedroom house into a 4-bedroom one. Don't forget, Mr. Owusu also justified the 11 air conditioners he uses in his official residence.
An issue has been raised with regard to Director General having 11 air conditions. That I consider mediocrity. In a 2-bedroom house. Where would I put them? The places that I listed to you, each one of them to have an air condition will be 13. So the 11 is not enough. Some Director Generals have a house allocated to them and have even a separate guest house for entertainment. And if this Director General or any other Director General of Ghana Maritime Authority who superintend over the maritime industry in Ghana cannot have a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom, then I say it's mediocrity in their mindset. We must think big.
Now I know Ghana is hot, but that hot? Well, government says it is investigating the claims against the Maritime Authority boss. So we'll await the outcome of their investigations. But already the posturing and justification by Mr. Owusu leaves a lot to be desired.
They are out there talking rubbish that this man here is amassing wealth for himself. Now I would like to say something in the Akan proverb You see, and Chinin Kasana will say order. But once in a while, order, you have to roll your sleeves and tell people order.
Is this the way we want our monies we earn through our sweat and toil spent? Is this the kind of conduct public office holders should be exhibiting? I leave it to the conscience of those in authority, and especially to those who have the responsibility to investigate this matter.
And that's it for Friday editorial. And if in Chini order at this critical moment, it's left for you viewers to judge. And that's how we wrap up the bulletin tonight. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. On behalf of the rest of the team, have a great one.
This is JoyNews Prime.